Hey, everybody, we're live. It's way better than being dead.
As far as I know.
You know what? That's the thing. We just don't know.
It could be the best thing ever.
It could be. Let's find out.
Okay.
You and me. That's how we're going to get the views here.
Yeah.
Anybody, you got a Tide Pod on you that we can eat?
Kids actually eating Tide Pods now?
Yes.
Well, that's terrible.
It
All right,
is.
Chris, let's do this.
Oh, jeez. Be funny on the show. Be more funny on the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of this stream, this is the Velady Studios show, second episode here. And if you'll notice, from the first episode to second episode, first episode had absolutely no production value. And I moved the camera here, so we'll just hide those wires
It's
right
all right.
here.
No, this is the second one.
Yeah.
The third one will have hidden wires.
Yes. We're not to hidden wires yet. We're to a little bit better microphones and some lighting and wireless internet. Last time we were wired, we were shackled, as it were, to the wall, and now we are
2005.
free. We were streaming to 2005,
Yeah.
warning them about the election. Not the election from 2005.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
wrong election. Yes, specifically. All right, we're not going to get political here, except for our comic shows up every once in a while.
yes. If you can't figure out how we feel about things,
Buy the comic,
Buy
and
the
you'll
comic.
see.
Find out.
Yeah, and you decide for yourselves. We write the comic, you decide. So, we are Velady Studios. I am Chris Hoffman, co-founder, and
I am Andrew Malin, co-founder.
co-founder. Both of us have the same title, except I'm just a little bit more co-founder.
Yeah, he's 61% co-founder.
No.
Yeah.
Just because I want to order Andrew around and tell him what to do. So we kind of go over the things. We're a comic book publishing company in Salt Lake City, Utah. Beautiful downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. We're in South Salt Lake right now, so we're sort of in the underbelly,
And yes, we're deep within the bowels of South Salt Lake.
as it were.
Yes.
And so we kind of wanted to give everybody updates about how our projects are going. We make comic books and we make board games, card games. And so we just want to give people sort of an update on what we're doing, what's coming up next, and how you can do some of this stuff yourself if you're so inclined. And so we've got one of the things that we have. Oh, I thought you were doing like a tear, like
No,
you were
no,
sad.
no. I had an itch, and there was no polite way to edit around it. So.
We have Kickstarter is the lifeblood of all of our projects. We've been very fortunate to have a great group of people who follow us around and help us make all of these projects work. You can see up in here in the corner the awesome cover for Ruthless #1, quickly changing to, as soon as I mention it, to Salt City Strangers. All of these comics and games started somewhere with a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, and it's brought to you by Kickstarter, hard work, and viewers like you.
God, very nice.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, PBS.
Very nice. Oh, it's all games considered
Yes.
on Games Velady Studios PR. So the current Kickstarter, as of the recording of this, is our horror comic tarot cards, which you can see lovingly displayed here, and you can see one of our favorite cards up front. And so we thought we'd talk about this. It's been so. Tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign.
Well, the Kickstarter's been our most successful yet. It was fully funded in less than 36 hours.
Yeah, it's at the time of this filming, it's at $1,800.
$1,800.
Which is great.
Fabulous.
61, 62 backers, something like that, from all over the world. We've had emails from people in France, from Tanzania, from the UK has been a popular location, and so people have been really excited about the deck and the art on here. So. Yeah, you were going to hit me with a couple of questions about this.
Chris started working on this project, has it been 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago. And what brought you to starting the horror comic tarot?
Yeah, so there was a couple of things. So we had, for one, we do a lot of projects that use public domain artwork. A couple of the other games that we have, Woe to the Living and Super Showdown. Those use public domain artwork.
We have an upcoming one.
We have an upcoming one. And public domain artwork is a great resource, and especially in the comic books, there's a ton of it. And there's a couple of websites, Comic Book Plus, which if you go there, if you could throw them a couple of bones, you know.
Yeah, we'll post a link so you can get there more easily.
Yep. They keep a digital library of comics that went into the public domain. So the company that made the comics went out of business, or they got sold and people didn't re-up the rights for this artwork. And so it fell into everybody can use it. So there's a set of superheroes, there's a set of horror comics, fantasy, kids comics, all that sort of stuff. But it's all lots of it very beautiful artwork and historically significant.
Yeah, there's a lot of artwork by famous creators like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko.
Right. And so we, since we're terrible, no, we're half-ass artists.
We're all right.
We're okay.
I went to design school, so I'm not an illustrator, but I can play around with letters.
Yeah, we compliment each other's work, and our moms think our art's really great, right?
Well, they think it's all right. Yeah.
Go overboard.
Yeah, let's not go nuts.
But the other thing was, in high school, I actually used to read tarot cards for fun, for people, for classmates and whatnot. I mean, let me tell you about like being super popular in high school reading tarot cards. You know, it's right up there with playing D&D.
I'm gonna guess you had your hair parted down the exact middle and wore a trench coat.
Yeah, no trench coat.
Okay.
No trench coat. That was, I didn't have the fashion sense for a trench coat, you know. I had, my favorite thing was I had white coveralls that said Urban Jungle across the front.
Good grief.
Yeah, they had a place here in the mall. You didn't grow up here in Salt Lake.
I did not.
But they had this very fashionable place in the mall that had that sort of stuff in it, where it was like all the wannabe skaters went there, because it's like you didn't want to learn how to skate, you just wanted to dress like one. They had a store where you could buy the things. I also had a skateboard that I didn't ride around. I was a train wreck.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, I was a train wreck when I was a train wreck, because I'm so put together now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Once again, 40-year-old making tarot decks, you know how popular it makes me at my work. This sort of stuff.
At the university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cards here, it is a lot of fun, and so I had a good time, you know, playing with these cards and giving people fortunes and being like, ooh, all spooky about it and whatnot. It's still fun to bust them out around Halloween time, and we're actually going to be, as part of one of the reward levels for the cards, we have someone who's actually going to be doing readings with these cards. So make sure you back with that. We're going to be doing some free ones on system just like this, where we're going to have the cards right here, and the person, you can ask a question, and we'll do 3-card readings here. But I wanted to, but yeah, does that answer your question? I started rambling. You started bringing up terrible memories from school that I have to, I'm kind of working through.
So I think he answered that. So I understand that you went to a lot of trouble to find artwork that matched the cards.
Yes.
And so this would be an ideal opportunity for you to show off some of your cards.
For sure. So some part of what's important about tarot cards is that each picture has a meaning, has a divinatory meaning. Good Lord. Will you say that for me?
Divinatory.
Meaning. Because I struggled on that one.
Divinatory meaning.
We need, you remember on Electric Company when there'd be those two silhouette faces and they would put the words together? You're like, I need that for speaking on our video. Next time. More production value next time.
We'll get there.
But the image has something to do with the meaning of the card. And so right here, the Wheel of Fortune, if I can make sure that we don't get some glare on it, maybe it'll focus for us. There we go. Wheel of Fortune.
That's my favorite card.
It's a standout card out of the set, which is why we made it part of the box. And so the Wheel of Fortune is actually, in the readings, is a very good card. It means good things are going to come and happen to you.
And everybody could use some good things, especially nowadays.
Exactly. And so she's, it doesn't look like good things, but you know what? Why are we assuming that he's going to dunk her in like what looks like boiling oil?
Yeah, he could have pulled her out of there.
Yeah, the guy with the skull mask and the purple cloak, I think he's helping her out, you know?
Well, was Skeletor always a bit? Yeah, he was.
He kind of was. He likes being evil! And Death.
Another great card, beautiful artwork.
Doesn't always necessarily mean like dying.
Is it like, could it symbolize change?
Change and ending, and so it could also just mean straight up murder. You know what I mean? But when I go through when I'm doing the readings here, I was trying to be like a little bit more nice on the sides of that. I'll just skip ahead to a couple of them here. This one I thought was really fortuitous. This is the Hermit, and so the Hermit symbolizes knowledge, and so that's why he carries the lit lantern. He is holding the lantern of knowledge and scaring away ignorance. And so in the image here, this gentleman is holding up the lantern, and he's revealing some scary stuff in the darkness here. So I was particularly excited about finding this image. And so what I did was I scoured through hundreds of these comics that are horror comics.
Let's be honest. More than hundreds.
Yeah. I look through every single one of these, and I get to the point where, like, when I see these at Comic Cons now, I buy if they're cheap enough. You know what I mean? You're talking about comics from the 40s, even ones with detached covers, like in comic books. What is it? Condition is everything.
Condition is king.
Right, and so. Even the ones that have like a detached cover or look like they've had like a coffee cup sat on them, or somebody wrote their name on them because it was part of their collection.
Writing your name on it doesn't detract as much value in a comic that old as you might imagine.
Because a lot of people did.
Yeah,
right?
because that's, you want to know that it's Jerry's comic.
Right. Yeah. And from then on. So I still pick these up because I have an affinity for them now because I've seen all of them. And so when I pick them up, see them in a bin, I'm like, oh, I got to pick this up. This one, the Knight of Cups, was a interesting card because this picture doesn't exist in the comic. This was one of the last cards that I made for the deck because I wanted all the knights to have like suits of armor. You know, it'd be nice.
Makes sense.
And I could not. And he had a sword, and that was really important to have. On the cups, to be part of this, to be a knight. So it's actually like two different pictures. It is the same page, but in Photoshop I actually cut these apart and put these two images together. So it was a long process of taking these images, taking them through Photoshop. So one of the ways to do that is to white balance against something that's white. So in the angel for temperance here. The cloak, part of the cloak is white, and so what I could do is in Photoshop I could white balance based on that picture, and so it got all of these old comics, they have like a yellow cast to them because they're so old the paper's deteriorating.
Yeah, and comic books were produced cheaply because they were only selling them for 10 cents a piece, and so they weren't meant to last forever.
Right. Much to collectors' chagrin.
Well, that's why they're valuable.
Right. And the other challenge on this was to find pictures that were in a portrait layout.
Yeah.
Because most comics are like this.
Or especially in the 40s, they used the 9-panel square box layout.
Right.
Because it was quick and easy.
Yep.
And it's boring.
Yeah. And that's how we do all our comics. I'm just kidding.
No, they're better than that. Buy one and find out.
Yeah. Buy all of them, and then you can compare. The Tower is another one of my favorite ones with this Tyrannosaurus Rex that's tearing down the Chrysler building. This one was an arduous card because there is a title that was all around this. And so this one, if you move this picture 2 pixels to the right, all this stuff shows up on the side that I cut out on it. But her showing up just in the corner. The Tower is a very bad card. The Tower is arguably a worse card than Death. The Tower is always destruction. It's never it's something is ending and so it's a rebirth. The Tower is destruction, pain. Yeah, it's bad omen, bad juju for sure. The High Priestess was a fun card because this guy, all this smoke and up here, there was also another title, and so I had to use Photoshop tools to like take this guy's fire hair and put it onto this guy. The Empress is a cool card because if I'm doing a reading for a female, this card represents the person who's getting the reading. If it's a male, then this card represents a female who is a part of that person's life. Could be significant other, could be parent, however they feel that their reading is going. The Devil is one of my favorite cards. This Devil is so cool.
Fantastic. Look at that.
Because it has like these horns that aren't really horns. They're not the classic like goat horns.
Yeah, it's part of his face.
Yeah, it looks like a mask but it's his face. Yeah, really cool colors. The red's really nice, and the gradients on this, really cool card. The Hanged Man is a lot of fun. That's always a good card to look at to see if you're gonna like the art from the deck. Eight of Swords. This was I think the first card that gave me the idea to do this deck. I was looking through this because we were looking for some artwork for a different project that we were doing, and I noticed that she had 8 knives in this picture, and I thought, oh, that could be like the 8 of Swords in a tarot deck. And then I was like, I wonder if I could do an entire suit of knives in tarot cards.
Yeah. There's enough circus, knife throwing, horror stories.
There are.
Yeah.
You start to see the themes on those things. There's a whole bunch of people that turn into werecats for some reason.
I would have thought werewolves.
No, werecats is really important and happens a lot. The Magician's another card. That means that's the male version of the Empress card. So that's the and one of the things that I forgot to do when we first put up the Kickstarter was actually show the back of the card. And so this is the
stark contrast. Look at that.
Turned out really nice. I love the reverse shadow of the skull. That's really unique artwork, and it makes me laugh that the people are just like, oh my God, don't tell our fortunes. My wife was looking at this. She collects tarot decks as well, and she was like, well, why are they petrified? I'm like, because it's a skull. It's it's part of the theme
at
here.
the core of this is a horror comic tarot deck, and so while some of the artwork is
macabre,
spooky, because there's skeletons, and I know the internet thinks skeletons are spooky,
they are.
But
spooky.
Look out, there's one hiding inside of you right now. Except for our viewers that are gelatinous.
They're fewer.
So,
fewer viewers. Not many.
Our viewers that are gelatinous. And I apologize for signaling.
Now you're having the trouble.
Yeah, it's something you did. Sorry,
my
boneless
fault.
viewers.
But that's the tarot deck. Now you've seen them. Like I said, you can see these on Kickstarter. If you go to VeladiStudios.com, or if you subscribe to our Facebook page, if you subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us on Twitch, all of the places. We're on all of the places. We're on Instagram, kind of.
It's there. We're going to post some of the tarot cards to Instagram, so if you see those, share them.
That is the biggest thing about this. If right now, if you're looking at these cards and you're thinking they're really cool, but you know what, it's just not in the cards for me right now, that's totally fine. I back Kickstarters. I go to comic book conventions. I collect things. There's never enough money for comics
all the
and
cool stuff that exists out there.
But you can still help with this so much by sharing on social media. Every Facebook share on this means so much for the algorithm of Facebook to share it with more people. When I put out a post to all of the people who follow, and especially with the rule changes that just happened with Facebook, if I put a post about this, not everybody who follows the Facebook, not even everybody who says I like this and I want to hear from these guys, will get a message about this unless someone shares it. And the more people that share it, the more people will see it. And so even if you want to be supportive, go ahead and share this on social media. If you can't afford a whole deck, back for $1. That's another thing that helps with Kickstarter's algorithms. If they see how many, they take into account how many people just in aggregate, in bulk, back a Kickstarter. So even if you want that, and then you get backer-only updates from us, where that you get to see the updates before other people do.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's all the things.
It is all the things.
You didn't even know that you needed it.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for. Oh no, we have one more thing to show over here.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about our artwork, I'll get this out of the bag here so that you can look at it. We're gonna do this unprotected.
Oh no. That's dangerous ground you're treading on.
It is. We have from the comic book store. Let's see if we can get this whole thing in here. Yep. Perfect.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got a blank cover of Casper the Friendly Ghost. Who's this published by now?
Oh, good question.
Oh gosh, my eyes! I need my reading glasses for this.
American
American Mythology. Yep, American Mythology. That's cool. They got like the rights to this. That's neat.
Yeah, that's not
You know,
bad.
Harvey.
Comics, yeah.
Harvey, when they quick aside here. So that's since we haven't done that enough.
Yeah.
Harvey, when like right before the 3D Casper movie came out, Harvey was sold all of the rights to all the characters. So Casper, Hot Stuff, Wendy, Little Lotta,
That's all of them.
Little Dot.
Yeah.
No, there's more. Ducky, whatever. There's actually like a whole bunch of them, and there were superheroes that were part of the Harvey brand. The guy who owned it sold the whole thing for $1 million.
Only $1 million.
Whole thing for
All
$1
that
million.
IP.
Right? It's Casper.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
There was a movie
That
I
that's
saw
what
as a
happened.
kid.
That's what they made when they bought the people who bought it for $1 million. That's the first thing they did is they made a licensed 3D movie. They made $1 bazillion off of it. You know, it was like, how could you let that go for that much? I don't know. Maybe the guy was didn't like Casper or whatnot. So, but Andrew did this, and so tell us about the inspiration, and then like what sort of tools you work with.
Oh, so I work with tone markers.
That was the second question.
Oh.
But it's the one you can remember. I'm joking. So tone
So
markers.
I work with tone markers. I pencil it first, and then I ink it over like you would in a normal comic book, and then go through and thicken the lines with a brush, and then I went through and toned it, see if there's contrast issues and things like that, and darken things up that need to be darkened so that the foreground pops.
Right.
And then the inspiration behind this is that comic came out, I want to say a month or two ago.
Okay.
And I saw that and I thought, I want to draw a picture of Casper burning in hell and hot stuff is tormenting him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why I thought that. And I've been staring at that blank cover at Dr. Volt's Comics for at least a month, just like plotting it out in my mind.
I almost bought. I bought one myself. I have a blank of this that I have an idea for as well, and I've seen this other blank one sitting there on the kid's shelf because that's where we kind of sit when we're hanging out at Volts.
Yeah.
And I have thought I should just buy the other one because I'll do another one. And
They actually have one left.
do they still have one?
Yeah.
But they're never. The ideas are never like, oh, I'll do a nice Casper where he's helping someone, which is what Casper always did. You know?
And he's hanging out with Wendy.
He's the friendly
or-
ghost. It's
yeah.
always a horrible thing. Like I want to figure out some sort of way to show that Casper is a dead Richie Rich, because that's what he is.
Oh, that was that Simpsons thing that was really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids, can you lighten up a little bit?
Yeah, exactly.
Worst Marge impression ever.
So we're going to post a clearer picture of this to the Lady Studios.
Yeah.
And if you guys have suggestions of stuff I could draw on a blank cover, Chris and I would love to do that. We have a lot of blank covers.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll get a picture of the ones that I have,
Yeah.
and then you can take a picture, and then we can show you which ones are there. And then if you've got an idea for one, we'll put it up. And then who knows? One of these times when we have a contest, or when you back on the Kickstarter, maybe one of these will just make it in the package to you.
Yeah.
So never know. But or you could also get a no prize where we want to start sending those out. The other thing that we need for this show is we need trivia questions for Andrew. Andrew is a veritable cornucopia.
Except for last week, but we were ignoring that.
You know what? That was a tough question. That was a Galactus level. That was a if you played the old Marvel role-playing game, that was a celestial level, like trivia question. Like I defy you to try to come up with 2 Black Panther villains, much less 5. So, but something in the realm. Tell us at what difficulty level you're at. You know what I mean? And Andrew won't look it up. We won't have Google up here or whatnot. We'll literally just ask him the question. Say, hey, do you know this? Who was Captain America's first girlfriend? Who was anything's on the table? You know what I mean? Like, well, anything comics related. You know what I mean? And this is the internet, and I realize I shouldn't just say anything's like that. We will ignore stuff that is not appropriate for the show. So just, at one point I was going to have a little thing on the live video feed here that was going to show your chats and then your live chats, and then I remembered this is the internet and I threw that idea away.
we don't want that.
So
But
we will
we'd
vet
love
them
to
first.
hear from you, but we're vetting questions.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Anything else?
No, I think that's wonderful.
Cool. Well, thanks for checking this out, and check out our sponsor, Dr. Volts, at drvolts.com. You can give them a call at the phone number on the screen here. They've got everything you need for comics, cards, action figures. Check out their website. They've got they've always got stuff up on their eBay site. They've got magic cards. They've got all sorts of cool stuff.
All comic stuff and related entities.
Exactly.
They've got it all.
Perfect. So, see you next time.